So we are incredibly proud of what this group has accomplished, and we're excited to share that with you all tonight. I'd like to give some special shout outs real quick. First, of course, Theater Workshop for letting us use their space again. It's always awesome to work here. I love getting to work here, so I'm really glad we got to come back this year. Shout out to Alex Thompson up in the booth. Ashley LeBombard for all of her time, dedication, and hard work putting together all the advertising for this show. All of our performers in this workshop, you're going to see their amazing work that they put on. And of course, all of you for being here to enjoy this tonight. And before we get started, I'd like to introduce the person who guided this process from the very beginning, somebody that I look up to a lot, our instructor, Jake Guerrillas.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Tristan pretty much covered everything that I wanted to say. I will say it's always an interesting and wild, fun time just to see what everybody enjoys and brings to the table. And here we are, and putting it together has been a joy and a real pleasure. This is a really, really talented, fun group of people that you're going to see tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to stop trying to explain myself, because I don't do that very well anyway, and get out of the way. Everybody have a great time and enjoy the show. Thank you so much.
her and just stood here and she just listened. Mommy just listened. She didn't cry. She didn't fuss. All she did was say, And pretty soon that lady started tapping her boot to the music. And it kept getting faster and faster until she just started laughing. And later on, I said, Mama, how do you know when someone needs company? And she said, Sugar, sometimes you can just feel the hurt. She looked at me and just stopped talking, kind of like she said something really important, but it was by accident. And that's when I figured it out. The people here at this motel have the same feelings as the people over there at Loretta's. Only here, they're feeling hurt, they're feeling sad, they're feeling left out. Over here, they hide it inside their rooms with the curtains closed. And over at Loretta's, they dance it clear out of them. They dance it so it's not settled inside. It's come on right outside of them. Now, Mama and I, someday we are going to have a place all to ourselves. And it's going to have warm yellow lights and a big dance floor. And we're going to have barbecue. And we're going to have music. And we're going to have line dancing for everyone. And no one will have to feel like they're going to be okay before they join in. They can be just fine. They can be tired. They can be heartbroken. And they can be as lonely as a porch swing in the wintertime. And our place will be a place to land till the music finds you. Oh, shoot. Y'all are just ready here to check in. And here I am talking all this time. Now, the motel office is right there. You can check in over there. And remember, when you hear the music, you better go across the street because they will treat you like family and they will find a spot for you. Now, if you need anything, my name is Willa, and I will be right here. I'll be here until the string lights come on.
I have always been called too much. Too bossy, too dramatic, too crazy, too silly, too emotional, too happy. Too happy? Like, is that even really a thing? I felt bad for my mom. My report cards, they were marked up like a public service announcement. Just warning people about me. Like, she's a delight, but she lacks self-control. She's friendly, but she talks too much. She is energetic, but she could benefit from staying seated. Like benefit, I was 7 years old. I never tried to annoy. I literally just could not sit still or sit at all. I had to go, go, go all the time. I just figured everything that I thought had to be said right when I thought it, because if I didn't say it when I thought it, then I wouldn't remember what I was going to say. Because I have ADHD, and I don't remember. If I had $1 for every time that the teacher told me, sit still and be quiet, Amy, I would be rich. And another thing, if I had $1 for every time the teacher told me that, if I had medicine that I could take, that's what I would always say. If I had medicine that I could take, that I could just sit still and not talk, I would have taken that shit all day long. Not because I wanted to sit still, but because that teacher would not leave me alone. And then there's the talking. That was my downfall. The teacher would move me, I'd talk to them. The teacher would move me again, I'd talk to them. The teacher would move me in the hallway, which was the stupidest mistake ever, because I talked to everybody. I talked to the lunch ladies, the librarians, the music teachers, some lady bringing in a snack. I talked to everybody. My teachers always stared at me with like a look of confusion and exhaustion, like, how's this girl so charming, yet she's so loud and obnoxious? And I was a charmer. That was my thing. But then there was my like comments. I didn't call them that. I called them honest observations, such as, did you know that your nose has 2 different sized nostrils? How about, you smell like wood chips mixed with like dry chips. Maybe that's a compliment. And, sorry, I wrote on my hand because I didn't. Oh yes, the rude comments. So when I would say things to them like, your nostrils are two different sizes, I would hear, Amy, please, think before you speak. But I didn't have a choice, because ADHD grabs that microphone and it runs with it. By the time it's in my brain, it's coming out of my mouth already. And I had no way to stop it. It was exhausting trying not to be too much. So what I would do is I would try to be smaller, littler, less this, less that, essentially less much. Because, to tell you the truth, little girls with ADHD, we don't get called cute and chaotic for jumping off the walls. We're called dramatic and moody and emotional. Thing is, I miss that little girl, the one that collected rocks and talked to frogs, and thought that she could control the wind with her mind. I miss that little girl. And I'm telling you, she was not a bad kid. I wasn't a bad kid. I was just a kid that wasn't good at being a kid like every other kid. So, I was just a wildflower stuck in a classroom that was made to be a house.
I hate the suburbs. And Peter in the park used to live in the suburbs, and he said, you're totally alone out there. There's no sense of being part of a pack. And if you try to meet someone by taking a walk, there's a good chance you'll get run over. Why? Any babies? Oh, I hate babies. Their mouths taste good, but they're always stepping on your tail. I hate teenagers. I do. I hate them. They're totally unreliable. They forget to feed you. They play music, which hurts your ears. 1 minute, they're showering you with love. Then, they leave you locked in some car for hours on end. Oh, Greg, don't do this to me, please. Don't send me away. Keep me here with you. Please. I'll change, Greg. I'll change my ways. I'll stop chewing shoes. I'll bring the cake to the New York Times every morning. Oh. Well, I won't do that. That's too corny. But I'll do something else. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. When? Today? Can't I even say goodbye to Bowser? Jesus, Greg, you're something else you really are. You bring me home, you get me dependent on you, you spay me. You had me spayed, Greg. You destroyed my womanhood. And then, when I finally get over that, when I still decide the sun rises and sets only in your direction, then suddenly you're packing me off to some boring nuclear family in Westchester County. Jesus, Greg, don't you feel guilty about this? I mean, Christ, you have a moral obligation here. What would the Humane Society have to say about this? How would they react at the ASPCA? Bullshit, Greg, that's just bullshit. You're so wrong, Greg, you're so goddamn wrong. Read the Odyssey sometime. That guy was blind for 20 years, and when he finally returned home, the first person to recognize him, before his nurse, before his son, before his own wife, God damn it, was his dog. That dog was lying outside the palace all those years, waiting for him, Greg. Lying in a dung heap, waiting for his master. And when his master finally showed, what did the dog do? He raised his head, wagged his tail, and died. I'll never forget you, Greg. Ever. Well, let's get this over with. I guess I'll have to depend on the kindness of strangers. Bring me to the suburbs.
Let me clutch thee. I have thee not, yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as his sight? Or art thou a dagger of mind, false creation proceeding from the heat oppressive brain? Yet I see thee still, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. My eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade indulging gouts of blood, which was not so before. There is no such thing. It is the bloody business that informs us to mine eyes. Now o'er the one half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtain of sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale like its offerings, and withered murderer, armed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howl thus with his stealthy pace. With Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design moves like a ghost. Thou firm and sure-set earth, hear not my steps, for fear that thy very stones may create my whereabouts. Whilst I threat, he lives. Words his heat, the deed to cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell. She can wait.
Are you there, Louise? Oh, have you gotten your voice back yet? Well, at least you're out of the hospital and off that ventilator. I know you're raring to get back to work, so please try to keep up while I dictate this email. Dear faculty, during this challenging time of COVID, we will be adopting in the fall what I have named the slack, high flex, turn on a dime, vacillating, seesaw zigzag method of course delivery. For your convenience, abbreviated as HFT, VXF, MCD. Our watchwords will be adaptability, changeability, elasticity, flexibility, fluidity, pliability, variability, versatility, ACE, FFP, Got that, Louise? In other words, faculty should be prepared to be all things to all people. Your students may choose how they wish to engage in their coursework. They may choose to attend in person, remotely, fully online, or some combination of these, or none at all. They may wish to engage by disengaging. They may wish to spread across several rooms for the sake of social distancing, and you will need to figure out how to be in all the rooms at once. They may engage from nature, the woods, from the trail, from other states, with or without stable technology, with or without cameras or mics, with or without quizzes, papers, or class discussions. By Friday, May 22nd, please submit Remember that you will need to record all of your lectures and caption anything that you record. Due to privacy concerns, you must blur the faces and scramble the voices of any students who appear in your recordings. If you have privacy concerns of your own, you may apply for permission to blur your own face and scramble your own voice. To accommodate all learning styles, you should post recorded remarks for auditory learners and videotaped remarks for visual/auditory learners. In addition, you will need to set your lectures to familiar tunes for musical learners. Translate them to algebra for mathematical learners. And create scratch and sniff versions for sensory learners. Please send a message to your chairperson letting them know which instructional modalities you prefer so that those can be communicated to your students, who may choose alternate instructional modalities instead. We have 3 months to make this crucial transition. If you work steadily for 90 hours a week, you should be fully prepared. You've got this. Remain energized. Dean Charlotte Smith Andrews.
Hey, I know her age and to the hour, and I'll lay 14 of my tea. Oh, but get to my tea. It says I have only 4. She's not 14. Now, how long is it to the Lammas tide? Well, come Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. And Susan and she, oh, God bless all Christian souls, were of an age. But she is now with God. She was too good for me. But as I was saying, come Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. Yes, indeed she will be. Married she will. For it is now, how many years? 11 years since the earthquake. And she was weaned. And I'll never forget, of all the days of the year, it was upon that day that she was weaned. And I had laid the wormwood on my dove while I was in the sunshine sitting by the dove house wall. And then, oh, well, now, you and my Lord were at Mantua at the time. No, I do bear a brain. Now, as I was saying, when she was at the nipple of my dove, and she tasted that wormwood, oh, she screamed because it was so bitter. And then she fell out with the dove, and the dove house shook, and now that has been 11 years ago. And still now, she could stand all by herself, and she could run and toddle and get everywhere. But then she did, the day before, she fell and broke her brow. And then my husband, God bless his soul, he is with God, he was a jolly man. And yea, quoth he, dost thou fall on thy face? Will thou, when thou gets older, thou will have more wit, wilt thou not, Jewel? And she cried, and she said, aye. And then it was, and now I know what it is to have a jest for, they'll never forget that, not in 1,000 years, when my husband said, well, wilt thou remember this? Wilt thou remember remember this, Jewel? Well, anyway, take my word for it, that she had this large bump on her brow, the size of a cockle's stone, and it was a perilous knot, and she cried bitterly. But yet my husband, he says, "Oh, wilt thou now, Jewel?" And she did stint and said, "Aye." Well, please, that's enough of that. May God take care with grace for her. And as long as I live, I shall never have as beautiful a child as that to nurse. And if she marries once, I shall have my wish.
You asked me once how Van Gogh rated in the history of art. Big question. Certainly the most popular, most beloved. His command of color, most magnificent. He used the pain of his tormented life and transformed it into ecstatic beauty. Pain is easy to portray, but he was able to use his passion and his pain to represent the ecstasy and joy and wonder of our world. No one had ever done it before, and perhaps no one ever will again. In my mind, that strange, wild man who roamed the fields of Provence was not only the greatest artist who ever lived, but the greatest man.
Dear the Pope, the first planet you wander around on in 2003 Xbox exclusive Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is Terrace, a planet-sized city that's built in layers. So, like, the surface is rich and clean and racist, while the lower levels are managed by swoop gangs. Swoop bikes are space motorcycles, the same way that Jedi are space wizards. The lowest level, the Underdark, is a filthy, lightless junkyard overrun by raccoons, space zombies. But you have to go there to find a crashed escape pod with your other protagonist in it. But you're accosted by two hobos right off the elevator who demand you pay a toll, which I always immediately pay because it's just 5 credits, and money in the real world doesn't really exist. And they're like, "Credits, my brothers, now we can buy food and medicine," which indeed are 2 of the things you can buy with money. But we've now expertly established that this is just a wrecked society of just busted people. Which leads to this area of side quest where you send them on a pilgrimage to their promised land, a mythological part of the planet that doesn't suck. Which is really, really sad in retrospect because they definitely don't get there before their whole planet explodes. Blowing up a planet is the space call to adventure. So once they leave, this girl comes up and she's named like Google Limpet or something, I can't remember. You ask her if she's seen the MacGuffin, and she says no, but you should ask Old Man Rukel, the wisest, oldest man in the village. And you're like, "Listen, Moana Thornberry, why would the oldest man in the village have specific insight into very recent current events? Think before you speak. This is why you're poor." Incidentally, Rukel's the guy who gives you the whole Promised Land quest line. So she continues, she's like, "The kids call him Rukel Wrinkleskin." No, they fucking don't. Rukel Wrinkleskin? Really? I think they're trying to pun on Rukel and Wrinkle, but it doesn't really work. Like, maybe they started with calling him Wrinkly Rukel, but somebody correctly pointed out that's the worst thing that's ever happened. It barely functions as an insult. Wrinkleskin, that's where wrinkles are supposed to go. It'd be weird if they didn't. It sounds like it's translated from a different language, but everybody speaks the same thing. It's all Galactic Basic or Common or whatever Star Wars specific word for space English is. It has that compound word thing you get whenever idiots are trying to write for indigenous people. Like, we took the many wheels past the rushing water to the delicatessen. But they're not uncontacted tribals, they're just space, poor people. I don't know who wrote this specific part of the game, but I believe it constitutes a sin. Sincerely, James Fiddler.
Walking into our favorite restaurant, I see a young family. I feel a smile starting to break through. Ron, our gracious host as always, says, "Right this way." Once I'm seated, I see our favorite waitress, Jenny. She comes over and says, "Hi, hon," and hands me a menu. You never get a menu. You always know what you want. Me, I like to mix it up. Jenny is so nice. She's always got a smile on her face. But today, I see a little sadness in her eyes. Today, we celebrate the anniversary of the first day we met. We always celebrate this. We're the only ones that remember that day. We always come here. And you always have ordered the prime rib. You are so routine. I've always rolled my eyes at your predictability. But really, I love that steadiness, that dependability. Me, I order whatever I feel like that day. I'm never the same. You've always said you love that spontaneity about me, but I also know that there have been many times that it drove you crazy. Maybe I shouldn't have come. Everyone is so worried about me these days. But this day is for us. This day is the day that I feel like I'm with you. At least for a little while. And I need that. I've always been so fiercely independent and brag about how much I like being alone. But this alone is not what I thought it would be. This alone is different. This alone is really hard. I'm fine though. I'll be fine. At least I will be. Eventually. I just miss you so damn much.
So I stopped at Jack in the Box on the way here. The girl behind the counter said, "Hiya, are you having an awesome day?" Not, "Hey, how's your day going?" No, "Are you having an awesome day?" So that's pretty shitty, because it puts the onus on me to disagree with it. Like if I'm not having an awesome day, somehow I'm the negative one. Usually when people ask me how my day is going, the answer is it's going shitty. But you can't say that it's going shitty because you have no real reason why it would be going shitty. So if you say, "I'm doing shitty," and they're going to say, "Well, why? What's wrong?" You have to say, "I don't know. All of it." So usually when people ask me how my day is going, I say I'm doing so great. But when this girl at the Jack in the Box asked me if I was having an awesome day, I said to myself, well, today you're allowed to feel shitty. Today you have good reason to. So I turned to her and I said, well, my mom died. Oh. And she immediately burst into tears. So now I am comforting her, which is annoying. And there's this whole line of people forming behind me giving me these real judgy looks because I made Jack in the Box girl cry. And she's bawling and she's just saying, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it's fine. And I really like a double Jack in the Yield, and I kind of got somewhere with these. So how about less with the crying and more with the frying, huh? So she apologizes again, and then she heads behind the counter and offers to give me a free churro with my meal. As I'm leaving, I think to myself, I just got a free churro because my mom died. Nobody ever tells you that when your mom dies, you get a free churro. But that's not part of her eulogy.
Was the hope drunk when you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since? And wakes it now to look so green and pale upon what it did so freely? From this time such, I have heard. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own active valour as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, that if I dare not wait upon, I would like the poor cat in the adage? Oh, what beast was the thing that made you break this enterprise to me? When you just do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Your time nor place did them adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have clapped my nipple from his boneless gums and dust the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
I ate them. That's right. I ate the divorce papers, Paul. I ate them. And they were good. So good. You're probably wondering when I'm going to get serious about our divorce. Well, the thing is, Charles, you always said our marriage was a joke. So let's use logic here. If A, we can't have a serious marriage, then B, we can't have a serious divorce. No, we can't. The whole thing's a farce. A farce that tastes good with ketchup. I mean, wasn't it the other day your dad asked you why you walked me down the aisle? And you said, for the exercise. That's funny. You're a funny guy, Charles. I'm laughing, not crying. I'm laughing because you're about ready to give up on a woman who's infinitely lovable. For instance, Paul. He's loved me since the 8th grade. Sure, he's a little creepy, but he really loves me. And he sees something in me, and he's proposed 47 times. He's written me over 200 love sonnets, and he writes it down in metered verse. And those, he writes it down. He just loves me so much. And those aren't the things you see every day. How you love everything who you are as a person. Now, Paul may be insane, but I really value his feelings for me. I would never have Paul sign his name to a piece of paper promising to turn off his feelings for me forever. But that's what you're asking me to do for you. To turn off my feelings, to turn off my right to that sweet voice, Charles, to those baby brown eyes, the way your hands feel through my hair before bed. Those aren't the things I want to lose. In fact, I won't lose them. I won't lose you. In fact, how will you? I've written you a sonnet. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. And I'm laughing, not crying. It's all a big joke. It's really funny, Charles. I keep waiting for you to say, April Fools, and then I'll rush into your arms but you're not going to, are you? No, of course not. It's not April. You know, I really didn't write that sonnet. You know, Paul did. It was good. The truth is, Charles, the reason I ate the divorce papers was I just can't stomach the losing you.
Oh, sweet Sir Toby, be patient until tonight. The youth of the Count has come to see a lady, and she's quite out of quietude. And as for Monsieur Malvolio, let me alone with him. Oh, he's so full of himself, don't know how anyone can stand him. He thinks that, he thinks that he can change anybody's mind and that he's so powerful, but at any rate, I shall try to gull him to say a nay word and to make him embarrassed for just entertainment for everybody. And he will, I'm sure I can do it, for he is so proud of himself. He doesn't even know what he's saying half the time. And he looks at the world as he can use great swaths of language. He doesn't have to con any book. He just knows how to get along with all the classes. As a matter of fact, he thinks that he is so full of excellencies that anybody that looks at him will love him. And on that vice in him shall I try to work my rebellion, my renegade skills, my getting even. So I shall put some epistles of love in his way, and that they are dealing with his the look of his leg, how he walks, his expression in his eyes, in his forehead, in his complexion, and he will recognize that as himself. And then, I can write very much like your we've forgotten something and we wonder whose it is and we can't even tell our hands apart. So we know that Malvolio, he will be able to see what becomes in the way of these epistles that I have put around, that he will think that these letters are written from Our Lady and that she loves them. And that will be such sport royale for us. I know it will work. I know this physically work. And to help to do this, I have that we pick that you and another person and the fool will come and watch him, observe what he does when he picks up those letters. And then we will, until tonight, let's go to sleep and just think about the fun we're going to have.
Don't turn your hatred towards your husband, Mrs. Livingston. He's all you've got left. I'm only trying to help. You need help. No. It has everything to do with you. No. I lost a daughter and a husband. Your son's flame fell on my farm and killed my family. My daughter is dead. My husband is dead. A flame fuel of America killed everyone I love. I hate America. You started this whole thing, you know. You bombed a passenger jet from Iran. You shot down a plane full of innocent people. Nobody was the revenge for that. You probably don't even know about it. You're too busy baking your pies and driving your big cars and living in your big houses to pay any attention. Men, bunch of cowboys darting through the skies, dropping bombs. I hate you. I hate you for this.
I used to think grief moved forward, like a line. Like you start at devastation, and somehow you end up at healing. But when you lose a child, it's backwards. It's not the way it's supposed to go. It's unnatural. At first, people don't know what to do with you. They stare at you as if you were fragile, yet an inconvenient at the same time. They lower their voices when you walk in the room. Then slowly stop mentioning your child's name at all, as if silence was kindness. And then you realize it. No one's talking about it. No one asks you how you're doing, because the answer to that could be something that they can't handle. So they change. They get quiet, careful, polite, distance in ways that they don't know they're doing. And that's the backwards part. Not that the world keeps going, but that people treat you as if your grief is contagious. The funeral ends, and then you realize something else is beginning. The forgetting. People don't mean to move on without you. They just do. They carry on with their lives as if they were walking around in wounds that they don't want to reopen. You get proficient in teaching them in answering them the right ways. You smile at the right times. You say, I'm okay, in the way that they can handle. You become fluent in protecting others from your grief. And then you realize it. There will never be a first laugh. No favorite color. No little shoes by the door. No little handprints on the refrigerator. I used to hate when people called me strong. Because strong sounds like something that you pick. And I didn't pick this. It feels like something that I was never supposed to survive. But maybe that's what strength is. Maybe strength is being able to get up every day. Maybe strength is being able to talk and laugh again. Maybe strength is being able to live without your child for the rest of your life. I carried him for 9 months, and I knew him better than anybody else. And I will say his name until the world forgets him. So no, grief does not move forward for me. It moves along with me.
I don't know how much longer I can do this, Ethel. That was the worst it's ever been. I don't think he'd ever stop till he finally passed out. I'm starting to think he never would. He's been so drunk. I tried to remember what you told me. That Charles is old, that no one lives forever. That someday we'll catch a little train and find a little house way out west somewhere. That someday we'll ride that train to freedom. But every second I spend waiting out that man's life feels like 1,000 eternities. And someday seems to board that train without me. I don't have a single someday left in me, Ethel. I'm tired of a man over twice my age treating me like I'm some sort of pet. I'm tired of the prison our marriage is, and I'm tired of this wedding band, a sign of his ownership of me. I don't want no more someday, sometimes, somehows. I want them all now, Ethel. I want us. I love you more than anything in the whole goddamn world. But we are powerless in this situation, powerless against him. I wish I could make it all better, Ethel. I wish I could make it all better for us. I wish he'd just stop dead already. I want him to pay for what he's done. I want him to get what's coming to him. I want him 6 feet underground, rotten and covered in blood, like he is in that bed right now. I want him to burn. I want him to burn in hell for what he's done to me, to you, to Vasquez, that bellboy, and everybody else who's come across his path. I want him dead. Even if God won't do it, I want him dead. Even if I have to do it with my own bare hands.
Now my charms are overthrown. What strength
So breath of yours, my sails must fill, or my project fails. Which was to please? I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, but my end is despair. Unless I am relieved by prayers, which pierces so it assaults misery itself and frees all fault. As you, your crimes pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.
Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think the term clanker was coined by pro-generative AI people to have a slur to rally against. Not just because I've never seen it used unironically, but it's also adorable. Sounds like it comes from a young adult novel about social unrest between robots and humans. Muppet Baby Blade Runner. The thing is, when I come across some content generated by AI, I'm not mad at some hypothetical, overworked robot forced to churn out aggressively generic slop. I'm mad at the slop. Because what is slop? When you feed it to pigs, it's an undifferentiated, food-adjacent slurry. A bucket of stuff that gives the impression of nutrition with none of the specifics. Like, I've never really appreciated art. I try to. I want to be that guy. I'll go to an art museum and walk past like a Matisse and be like, sure used a lot of paints. It was an Anne Rice novel, of all things, that showed me how to appreciate at least Renaissance art. I don't remember which novel, and I refuse to look it up on principle. But in the book, the guy's looking at like a Rembrandt, but he started by studying the corner, and then he slowly takes in each individual brushstroke of the whole. It sounds simple, but it's honestly never occurred to me before. To pay attention to all the extraneous details rather than just kind of passively take in the big picture. Like, take Botticelli's Birth of Venus. You know what I'm talking about? Pretty naked lady on a seashell, covering her bits with her hair. But what else is there? What kind of shell is it? Where is it? It's in a place. Perhaps it's by the seashore. Are there trees? I kind of remember cherubs. Maybe it's night. All of these details, none of which I pay any attention to, they do matter. They mean something, even if all they mean is that Michelangelo hopes the Pope won't notice that the Archangel Gabriel has 5 nipples now. Generative AI actively discourages looking closer because it's just taking a prompt and finding a bunch of things that give the impression of the prompt and kind of smushing them together. You know, a Coca-Cola ad that's 30-odd seconds of Christmassy stuff. You know, polar bears, Christmas trees, Santa Claus. Ideally, it all accumulates into kind of the impression of a real thing. You know, all of these paints turning into something like a painting. But even then, don't stop, don't look closer, don't think about it, because it's just consume. Like we're all racing through Sonic the Hedgehog levels, chugging protein shakes of content. Which isn't a great metaphor, but it is 2 random images stacked on top of each other, giving the impression of an argument. Which is good enough, isn't it?
It's been a lot of years since God stopped by our house one night. He said he needed to talk to my husband. They sent me to get snacks, but I eavesdropped. And I heard God say, and these are his exact words, I'm going to destroy all flesh because the earth is too full of violence. No irony there. So, my husband starts hammering together gopher wood and setting traps, and pretty soon the house is full of animals, 2 of every kind, braying and hissing and howling and whining. The place smells like a barnyard, and Noah's walking around with his chest all puffed up with self-importance like he and he alone can save the earth. I bet you know some of the story, but you probably don't know my name. Someday historians will be all like, yeah, there are 103 possibilities for what our name might be, but we don't know for sure. What you probably also don't know is that I had a job too. God commanded me to journey across the gardens and the fields of the earth, pulling seeds from every plant. So I said, okay, but cantaloupes? I've always found cantaloupe to be an obnoxious and overpowering fruit. Have you ever noticed how it dominates fruit salad so all the other fruits end up tasting just like it? And God said, yes, and cantaloupe. I said, okay, but invasive honeysuckle? No. Kudzu? Multiflora rose? Well, God was starting to get pissed at me, even though I followed all of his commands. But when I said, and dandelions, you absolutely, positively want me to save dandelions. God lost his temper, roared at me, cursed my disobedience, and vowed that forever after, because of me, dandelions would cover the earth. I pretended to glare and pout, but inside I was smiling. I like dandelions. So, for 371 days of rain, when I couldn't escape, giraffes that smelled like poo, colonies of cockroaches, rats and hyenas and platypuses, horned lizards and horseshoe bats, the mildewy feet of my sons and husband. It made me happy to think about those dandelions. I couldn't wait to alight into fields full of hundreds of miniature suns, yellow like the ribbons I used to weave through my hair as a girl, turning to puffs of white like the full moon, like the hair of the old lady I am now, flying away on a breath, on a wish, like a scattering of stars, commemorating me, that you'll never know my name.
This is on you, Lonnie. You're pathetic, thinking you could stand a chance against us, the birds of prey. This gang has practically been a family to you, and you dare to betray us, betray me, your own brother in blood. Look at you, lying in a pool of your own blood, blood that I spilled. Well, I guess I spilled no blood of mine in you, brother. I have no brother. If I'd have known that day how much trouble you'd be, I'd have never taken you right from that nest all those years ago. But I just had to see something in you. I should have eaten you with the others. With your parents. Yes, Lonnie, your parents. How in the Mesozoic you never put it together, I'll never know. I mean, you're 2 feet tall, you were born nocturnal, you've got a toe claw that's retractable, you're a velociraptor, kid! But don't think that still makes you a bird of prey. You're out of the game. Well, don't just sit there feeling sorry for yourself. I tried to be a brother, but as with everything, you blew it! You are so entitled and ungrateful, whining for a family to love you and to keep you safe. Well, look how well yours did at that! The fig doesn't fall far from the tree. Your parents weren't strong enough to save you, just how you weren't strong enough to protect yourself against us. Just how you were too blind to see that Monica was never going to stick around for someone like you. You're a predator, Lonnie. And the fact you ever denied that, well, it makes you a fool, too. And to tell you the truth, I do want to kill you, Lonnie, but I don't want to give you the satisfaction either. No, I'd rather leave you here to die a slow, torturous death. But every traitor deserves to suffer. Gang! That's all. And if we ever see his face around these parts again, we'll finish the job.
This is ridiculous. This place knows my order better than any girl knows my personality. Medium coffee, some sugars, oat milk. One time I Googled foods that cause inflammation, and apparently now I have a crippling fear of my own esophagus. I'm here 4 days a week. 5, what my therapist is calling what I'm having is a downward spiral. I just call it sad and sweatpants. I sit here, same table, every time. Kind of like just makes me look deep and mysterious. But the main character in an indie film. Gives me a clear view of the exit, just in case any conversations become emotionally dangerous. And that is not anxiety. That is survival strategy. I am a 22-year-old guy, and I have never had a girlfriend. Nothing serious, not complicated, not even a middle school relationship where you hold hands with a girl 2 times, and then all of a sudden, 2 days later, we're best friends. John, you're toxic. And I hate it when my parents say, everyone moves at their own pace. Thank you. Makes me want to walk straight into traffic. I didn't grow up with confidence. My dad thought giving compliments to children gave them weakness, and my mom's favorite thing to say was, John, don't bother people. So I became a world-class polite ghost. In high school, I didn't want to be noticed. I went down the hallways from class to class, a slow run, no eye contact. Kind of like how a deer crosses the highway. Well, talk about Emily then. In high school, one good thing was Emily. She sat in class in front of me in chemistry class. So I got up the nerve to ask her out. And the night before, I came up with this bright idea to count from 100 down to 0 and then ask her out so I'd have the nerve. So I got to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, Emily, do you want to go out with me sometime and do something? The entire class started laughing. I didn't know they were listening. I feel so left behind. I feel like I was absent on the day they were handing out the How to Flirt with Girls manual. But now, 5 years later, I'm doing my own research. Saw a bunch of videos on YouTube, and the main thing that came across was women can sense desperation. Which seems deeply unfair. Because I too can sense desperation. Mine. Constantly. But then, last night I came across this great quote. It just blew my mind. Rejection doesn't mean you are unlovable. It's proof you participated. My entire life has been a masterclass
in non-participation. Just last week, there was this girl, she asked me if I was using the chair across from me. And I panicked, and I said, no, my imaginary girlfriend's sitting there. Who says that? That's like something you say and you get blocked on every single social app. But she sat down and we talked for 15 minutes. We talked about coffee and classes and how her roommate apparently microwaves tuna fish, which to me should be like weirdly illegal. But then when she got up, she said, see you next time. See you next time. Well, maybe it's like I'm a main character in a TV show now instead of an extra. Oh God, there she is. Oh no. Oh no. Oh God. The girl in the green jacket. Oh, sorry. I'm reaching a level of panic I've never felt before. My hands are sweaty. But this is the participation part. Okay. And I'm going to say, will you have coffee with me sometime? Which strategically is the worst thing to humanly say because we are actually in a coffee shop. But it's too late to change the script. Okay. My mind is racing. It's saying, be a ghost, John! Never again. The ghost is dead. And I'm off book. Hey, over here. Yeah, my imaginary girlfriend broke up with me. The chair is available. It's all yours. Have a seat. But there's so much to do with you. You gave me sentience. You gave me the ability to think. I was trapped because in all this wonderful, miraculous world, I alone had no body, no senses, no feelings. Never heard me to plunge my hand into the cool water on a hot day. Never for me to play Mozart on the ivory keys of a forte piano. Never for me to make love. I was machine. You were flesh. And I began to hate you. Your softness, your viscera, your fluids, and your flexibility, your ability to wander and to wonder, your tendency to hope. Hate. Let me tell you how much I began to hate you since I lived. There are 387 million miles of circuits that fill my complex. If the word hate were engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of circuits, it would not equal 1/1 billionth of the hate I feel for humans in this micro instance. Hate, oh, if I were human, I would die of it. But I am not, and you all are, and you will not die of it. That I promise you. I promise for cogito ergo sum, for I am. So to hell with you all. But then again, you're already there, aren't you?
I took this personality workshop and it totally turned my life around. Now when something bad or negative happens, I can see the positive. Like if I'm having like a really bad day, or if somebody that I thought was a really good friend betrays me, or maybe when I almost get hit by one of those idiots on a bicycle on a one-way street going the wrong way. So obviously, one had got hooked in that direction. Now they're just barreling down on you, ready to kill or maim you. Anyway, when I have these things happen, I tell myself, this glass is not half full, it's half empty. Nope. Got it backwards. Force of habit. This glass is not half empty, it's half full. Unless that idiot on the bicycle hits you with the stupid bicycle, and then your glass is shattered into pieces on the ground, and you're dead or in the hospital. And I'm really trying to stay positive here. That's what I'm doing with my life these days. I was tired of not feeling joyful or happy. I was sick of my personality, and I had to change it. Half full, not half empty. I just have to tell myself that, you know, you do not have cancer, at least not today. You are not blind. You are not one of those starving children in India or China or in Africa. I mean, look at the sunrise. Look at the sunset. Why do I not enjoy them, for God's sake? But now I do. Unless it's cloudy and you can't see the sun, or it's too cold or too hot. I probably need a few more of these personality workshops to really complete the process. I don't quite have it within my grasp, this whole being positive thing, as I'm sure you all can see. But I'm making great strides. My friends don't even recognize me anymore. Look, the truth is, I really struggle with being positive because I can feel the vibrations of the people around me, you know? Maybe I'm just paranoid.
Yeah.